Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Anime Anticlimax on SeptumSin versus the World. I'm SeptumSin, and I'm here with Kotobuki Jake, my co-host, and Brittany slash Idono, who is representing Imbria Arts, and we are here to celebrate her birthday month with Viking Kitties.
Yes.
And a show related to that. So tell us about what it is that we are covering today.
We are covering the historic slash seinen anime series Vinland Saga Season 1. This was somewhat requested in one of our streams earlier this year to get to. And I was like, yeah, it covers some territory we haven't covered before. Let's take a look at it.
Viking Kitties.
And yeah, if you haven't seen it, it tells the story of a young Thorfinn. And we're just going to be, like I said, cover Season 1. We'll probably allude to issues of Season 2, but we won't talk about Season 2.
Yeah.
But Season 1 is very much a story about vengeance and how to seek it out
Blood,
and
death,
whether or
and
not you get it. Yep. Very much the Viking creed of death and vengeance. So yeah. Is it the first time you're watching it, Jacob?
Yes, this is a first watch, and I have to say that I am deeply, deeply disappointed by the lack of Viking kitties in my particular viewing.
You see, if you blink, you miss it, you know.
Well, yeah. Well, yes, this is a show that I had certainly heard a lot about. I am nowhere near as plugged into current anime as I was 10 years ago, I guess. I kind of pay attention to stuff that people talk about, but not like super intently. And part of the reason why is I have so freaking much unwatched anime already in the collection that going in on new ones is kind of, it seems a little odd, especially because I'm got so many other things in the pike already. But this one, I had heard a lot about it. I know people raved, especially about the first season. And so it was on my radar. I always held off on buying it from Sentai, but on the last sale, the limited set was actually pretty cheap. And I was made aware that a sale was going on after I had watched the first 2 episodes for this viewing. Luckily, it is on Netflix for those of you who don't have it.
All of it's on Netflix.
What's
But
that?
different dub.
Well, I watched the Japanese, so, whatever.
Yeah.
But
all of it's on Netflix as well as saying both seasons are.
I mean, I watched it in the original Nordic dialect of Japanese,
Yeah.
Actually,
but, although I wish there
Amazon
wasn't.
Prime had it in
What's that?
Amazon Prime, oddly enough, did have a Nordic language you could do
Oh,
it. You
did?
could watch it in. Yeah, they did.
Do you recall which one? Or
Gosh, I cannot remember, but it was.
It would probably be Season 1.
yeah,
Season
well,
2,
I
believe,
meant
is
which
more
language.
exclusive.
Technically, most of the characters are Danish, so
Oh, it actually wasn't Danish. Yes, it wasn't Danish.
it was Danish. Oh,
Yes.
okay.
So
I might
theoretically,
have to-
you could do that. You could watch it in Danish.
I need to see if the Sentai one. Well, anyway, what I was going to say was I actually watched the first 2 episodes, and I've also been doing a hardcore run through One Piece, so I kind of got into this show slowly, a couple episodes at a time, and kind of cut it with One Piece for something lighter. But then once I finished the Skypiea story arc, I just switched over to this one, and I've been watching this for about a week. And I didn't get to season 2, so I won't be able to really join in on that part of the discussion. But anyway, one day, but it would be interesting to watch this in something approximating the original language. Unfortunately, the typical English or Japanese choices, some of the characters speak English, so that one would be closer. But
Yeah.
I
mean,
at any
a good
what's that?
a good chunk of it occurs in England and Wales. So
Right. And a couple of the Viking characters are either fluent or conversant in English, and so especially Askeladd seems to know a couple of languages. But my first impression, and one of the reasons I went ahead and sprung for the limited set after just 2 episodes, is that I was impressed by the quality of the first couple episodes. The music is great. The animation is great. It's a beautiful series. Very gory at times, so it's not always beautiful in the that sense. But I personally was impressed by the production of the first 2 episodes, and mostly I enjoyed the first season. I have mixed feelings about it. Most of the characters we're meant to root for are at their core killers who are involved in a very bloody and aggressive society that I do not agree with on many levels. I said before, Thorkin, I put a picture up of Thorkill, sorry. I liked him. He amused me. He entertained me. I liked him, while at the same time going, if I knew this guy in real life, I would not want to know this guy in real life.
Well, he might
if you knew him in real life, he'd probably be dead.
He is in very many ways a despicable character, but he also is in many ways one of the better characters in the series. It's very confusing. And the main character we're meant to root for, I'm going to just be blunt. In season 1, Thorfinn starts off very empathetic, very much someone that you're like, oh, this is going to be his story of vengeance. Okay, let's see where this goes. And by the end of the season, I freaking hated that character with a passion. I hated him. Every time he was on screen, it dragged the series down. And so so there were issues with the series in terms of characterization and in terms of just me being able to turn off certain moral things to really get into the story. But in terms of it even being a vengeance story, I thought myself several times of, I wish this kid had half the charisma and charm and decency of, let's say, Inigo Montoya. Talk about your famous vengeance plots,
Yeah.
If he had a little bit more of Inigo in him, I could have cheered for him a whole lot more. Askeladd is a total rat bastard snake of a character, and yet I cheered for him more. And it was like, so yeah, I know I had mixed feelings, but overall though, I was impressed by it. I'm like, this is a good show. I do want to see season 2. I've been told it's a little different than the first one, and I'm hoping in a good way. Although from what I understand, the overall reception of the series was much better for season 1 from what I understand.
I will explain a little bit why there's a different conception later.
All right.
But let's get to Brandon.
Yeah. Well, one more thing I'll just say real quick is, like, I know, Brittany, you keep saying how much this is rooted in history, and I know a lot of it was heavily fictionalized. like from what I understand, this is a historical document the way Braveheart was. But it still does have a lot of interesting info that, frankly, most Americans don't know shit about Viking history. I knew Leif Erikson. I knew of him. I knew he came to the New World long before Columbus did. He was the only one of the cast that I had heard of. I did look into it. I know Thorkel the Tall was a real character. Prince Canute was real. There were a few who were definitely based on real people. And Thorfinn, I know, was based on a real person. But I also know that from what I read, a lot of their characterization was just made up out of whole cloth for dramatic effect. So
I'll explain a little bit about the history as well.
Okay. But it was interesting to see this take on this period of history. Yeah.
Brandon?
All right. Well, this was my first watch. The first season has been in my backlog for a hot minute now because I got it originally on a Sentai sale. I know I didn't pay a lot for it because it was one of those that looked interesting, but I wouldn't have paid more than 20 for it. So, because I was like, I have to have standards. I got too much already in my backlog. But I just so happened to have it. And I had also picked up the second season because I was like, it's on sale. Crunchyroll did one of their last big sales a while ago. Not this summer one, which sucked. Before they decided to cut it all behind a paywall. And I was like, yeah, they were doing, because they split it in a part 1 and part 2, as they do. And I went ahead and I got that. And I will only say 2 things about season 2. No real spoilers in that. But you will see a lot of spoilers for the first season, so you're warned about that. So to quote CinemaSins in their Walking Dead review, fuck that farm. And 2, I will say, if you were looking for the completion of Thorfinn's story, season 2 was the way to do that. Because that completes his arc totally from being a child in the beginning to being a man and at the end. So, so if that's what you really aim to do, then that's definitely worth your watch. I'm still trying to square whether I felt like it was worth my watch or not. As far as the story itself, it was an interesting story. One of the things I thought was interesting that I can come back on when it comes to the production is, I don't know why, but the art style reminded me of Initial D for some reason. It's just some of the it's a lot like Initial D in the fact that there are some scenes that can look really smooth and impressive, but then there's others where the characters look incredibly ugly and their faces look drawn up. So it just reminded me of that series, because that's a series that I'm conflicted about whether I like the animation and art style of as well. This is a series where I can't really like any of the characters, but I can enjoy some of the characters overall. I mean, like, Ashalad probably would have been one of my favorites on the fact that, yeah, he's a dick, but he's a dick doing a job. And technically, it's sad that the vengeance quest was definitely against the wrong person who never really got punished. But I did warn you all about spoilers. And it's interesting how that goes. But the characters were interesting. I mean, Thorfinn in this season reminded me of Sasuke if Sasuke was a rabid animal.
Yeah.
If Sasuke was a little bit more rabid, a little bit less civilized, this would be what he would be. So, not exactly my most likable of type characters, but yeah. But then we go very different for season 2. So yeah, but interesting choice. And you don't see many series about Vikings. You see your occasional one, like Pathfinder, the movie, and you got like there was that series Vikings, I believe that they did. And then of course you have the Wizard of Id, that great comic. I believe that wasn't that the one with the Vikings in it. Or was it Wizard of Id? No,
I don't
no, it was
remember
Eric
if
the
Wizard
Red.
of Id
Eric
had
the,
Vikings.
Eric the Red.
Eric the Red. Eric.
Yeah. So I mean that was the
I
Viking.
hate as well as the Viking.
You also got the How to Train Your Dragon movies.
That is true.
True, Vikings.
So they were kind of they were definitely not very Viking like in a lot of ways.
They were kinder, gentler Vikings, yes.
A lot more dragons. This series
Right.
could do with some dragons.
Now you say
Viking
that it definitely starts feeling pretty Games of Thrones-ish later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Game of Thrones-ish.
But I think that the series also could have definitely benefited from Viking cats. So I'm just going to insert these cats into my memories.
I mean,
of the
for
series.
any on this vote, that more Viking cats would have made the series much better. It probably would have raised that audience score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. I mean, if Cat Thor had been in this,
It of course have to be named Thor because there's so many Thors in this
But
series.
did you ever read any of the Squirrel Girl comics?
No.
Her roommate writes Cat Thor comics. That's great. Love it.
Okay.
But otherwise, it was a good series to watch. I was glad that I had an excuse to watch it, and I was glad that the series you picked was in my collection already, so I was able to not spend any extra money and go for it. I even re-signed up for Crunchyroll's a free trial for a few days in order to watch some of season 2 because I wanted to follow up the story so bad because the way that it ended in season 1, and then got hit with a total tonal reversal that ground me to a halt and made me go, I could have waited on this.
There's not really an explanation of what happens between season 1 and season 2 outside of not even the manga really covers it much.
There wasn't that much time that happened, really. I think it was less than a year. So
pretty much, yeah. I mean, it's a rightful punishment, and we'll discuss that when we get to that point, which is the end.
But any case, that's my first thoughts on this, and I will leave it to you, which I figure you must have seen it before because you put it up.
I watched it when it first aired, but months after everybody else started talking about it. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a look. And I watched it in Japanese, which is, I mean, the Japanese to do a true Viking story was never on my playbook. I just did not see that coming. And the fact that there is historical relevance to this occurs at the beginning of the end of the Anglo-Saxon Wars. Basically over the next 50 years from when this anime starts, the Anglo-Saxons go to war, have 3 kings. I mean, 4, I think, technically. It's a really hard to research element of history, but it would be the start of William the Great and the death of a King Harold, but not the King Harold in the anime, because the King Harold seen here is a different Harold. But much of this does have history. Thorfinn was a real person. He was the last explorer of the Vikings to come to America, which the manga does get to. So, I mean, it's a no reception if we're ever getting a season 3, which would be weird because it does kind of tie up pretty well in season 2.
It could be another series. It could be another season dedicated to farming.
No, no, I know exactly what happens in season 3 if there was a season 3, and it's not farming.
Well, I mean, if season 2 is any indication, it would be the first Vinland Saga season to take place in Vinland.
No.
Wow.
No, it would not. That'd be like season 5.
Wow. That can end where it is then.
Season 3 would take place mostly in Greece and Germany.
Man, they go a long way around. They must have had a wrong turn at Albuquerque.
It was intentional. You got to raise funds.
Maybe he got his street directions from the same vendor that Columbus would end up using later on.
Probably, but yeah. So
the route from Iceland to Americas is definitely not to Greece.
Pretty much Thorfinn did know Leif. Leif Erikson, of course, is one of the most and famous explorers of the world, who founded Greenland, founded Iceland. Pretty much, this entire story comes from the story of Eric the Red. So that's where people want to know where the true history comes from. It comes from the overall story of Eric the Red. Like we said, Thorkel was a real person. Canuck was a real person. These characters play roles in history that is very overlooked these days. But it kind of sets up pretty much how Europe evolved from the sort of savage wildness that was the Vikings. Well, Anglo and Saxons weren't any better, but it starts to civilize throughout the years. And which, I mean, season 2 shows that things start to civilize. But season 1, this is very much a true to life Viking story where you have bloodshed and war and vengeance all played into it. And it's that true epic that the creator wanted to create. And the story of Vinland is about a Viking seeking peace in a world of violence. Which season 1 definitely doesn't show that. But that is what the overall theme of the series is.
You see flashes of it because, like, you know, of course, his father, Thor's, had been seeking that. And, like,
yep,
you know, and I think that was one of the things that most annoyed me about Thorfinn was how thoroughly he seems to have forgotten those lessons.
Well,
you know?
I mean, he comes around. The series, anime, at least, it comes into a circle. Both season 1 and season 2 goes around in a circle. So the lessons we learn from Thor's, which is interesting because I thought Thor's died in episode 1 when I started to rewatch it for this stream. I forgot he dies in episode 4. Because they wanted to build up just this larger than life man of peace that Thor's was.
Yeah. I was thinking that would have been actually, I think that it would have had less of an impact on me if they had actually killed him off in episode 1.
Right. It has more of an impact. And like for me, I know Brandon made a comment about how they spoiled it in the opener. And I was thinking the same thing, but not at first. Like I said, I watched the first 2 episodes and then I took a break of a couple days and then came back. And as I sat down to episode 3, I was watching the opening credits and I was like, yep, he's not lasting long. I kind of wondered, but this opener gives the game away. And then by the end of the episode, I was like, yep, he's not lasting long.
I mean, Japanese people, I'll give it this. It's something I've learned over the years. The Japanese people don't give a crap about spoilers. That is why openers always have spoilers for shows. It's just the way they do.
They don't always spoil much, but sometimes they'll throw something really crazy out that's like, wow, you just laid that right out there.
Usually, if they throw stuff out, it's just a teaser to get you interested in something to come. Like a lot of the Ranma ones that they did in the beginning would show him starting in various fights with people that he was going to fight later on, which kind of builds that anticipation. And though it initially did spoil the whole boy-girl concept, that was also revealed in like episode 1. So I really don't think that was, anything.
Nope.
Yeah. Going forward, go ahead.
One interesting thing about this series, when it goes to the second opener, I started seeing moments where I'm like, did I see this already? And then I realized after it happened a few times, this was this is rare in my experience. You guys might disagree on this, but it's rare that I see an opener that takes scenes that are directly transposed from the series into the opener. And so they were not just spoiling things thematically, there were actually moments from the series that are in the second opener. And then when I saw them, I'm like, did I see this? Oh, that's why.
Yeah, I mean, when this came out is 2019, and it started to be something regular in a lot of anime. And these days, even One Piece does it, where they'll show parts of the show in the opener.
Well, they did that in the second opener, but those were flashbacks to earlier episodes.
No,
you know what I mean?
They'll show scene for scene parts of the show.
In the opener. Okay.
In the opener.
Good to know. Good to know.
There's several series that have done that. I know that.
I just don't see it very often. And so, like, when it happened, I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's a choice. But
now, I'm going to kind of approach this a little differently. Instead of going episode to episode, we'll just go by kind of like parts, because they're that's how it kind of takes steps along the way instead of shows, and we can kind of talk about the characters. So the first part would be Thorfinn at age 6. When he has his dad.
Only 6?
Yeah,
he was only 6. Yeah, they actually gave his age in the series.
Wow, I could have sworn he was older than 6.
Because I went from 6 to 16, and
was there a 10-year jump? Okay.
Yeah. 10 years.
I didn't quite catch that, but I mean,
and he was like what, 19 by the end of the series, I believe.
By the end of the anime, he was. By the end of the anime, he was 19. By the end of the series,
by the end of like the first season, I mean, because
around that,
by the end of second
age.
But yeah,
second season he's in.
We just Monday did our discussion on Jerry Maguire, and we talked about that little kid, and I think that little kid was 6, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, this kid definitely doesn't seem quite as young as that kid did.
He was a really small kid for his age too. So.
He was really small. There is that, but
so we have young Thorfinn under the tutelage of his father, who is a former Jans Viking, which is basically the royal guard of Denmark. He left the guard, basically just said, I'm through, I'm done, and left
Mhm.
by jumping in the sea and faking his death. Very easy those days.
He just said peace.
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I
And
remembering correctly? I think it opens, doesn't it, with a
On the
scene from
battle.
that famous battle, and it's like
Yeah.
Thor's and
Thorkill.
Thorkill, I think, are
Forrest and
fighting
Thorkill.
together. Yeah.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah,
And
back when he was still friends with God, what was his name? The blonde.
Loki.
Loki.
Well, half of them are blonde.
Floki.
Yeah.
The one with
Loki.
the one whose facial hair made him look like he was more of a square than he actually was.
Yeah. He aged very quickly in the series as you went on.
I will say this about the art without even getting into the, overall art of the anime. The art in the manga, the creator purposely wanted to make royals and higher ups, nobles, look ugly. With the exception of Canute. With the exception of Canute.
King
Because
sure is ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, we'll address that more when we get to like some of the other nobles. I mean, the French guy, when they invade France and all that. But,
Yeah. He was probably the most cartoonish looking one of all.
Yeah.
He almost looked like one of the old Obaba from the Ghibli films.
Yeah. So we have a young Thorfinn who wants to become a warrior. It's the dream of Vikings to become a warrior. And this is all happening on Iceland at the time.
Right.
Simply the best, better than all the rest.
And basically, there's the first episode, the family comes across a slave that ran away and was dying in the ice. And they were giving him some comfort in his last moments with the knowledge that they will get in trouble if they're caught with them. And they get caught. And the father, Thor's, has to work this deal with his his sheep.
I'll give the slaver one thing. He knows how to use a chain. Damn.
Yeah.
Well, we also did
if they do have a season 3, you'll see him again. So
this is a good indication of like how fully odd Thor's is in this society, because even though he is very, 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 very much respected in this community and his family loves him, he and his daughter have words over what to do with this slave. Like she makes very clear, like, where kind of, I guess, is a stand-in for, I guess, the more traditional viewpoint. And he's like, no, we're gonna do what we can for this guy. We'll help. And
I mean, throughout the series, and Brandon can attest to this because it's even more widely in the second season, religion plays a big part, particularly Christianity plays a big part in the series. And so Thor's has very much that Christian belief of be kind to your neighbor, kind of mental attitude there. And sadly, the slave dies, and they bury him.
To be Christian?
He is Christian.
Okay, I must have missed that part.
Well, he's of a rough Christian belief. Thorfinn becomes more Christian in season 2.
Thorfinn is different. Yeah, he really doesn't define what religion he is, so to speak. I mean, I know that he probably came across it because of the conquests and so on.
Right.
But it's hard to say.
It comes across
we only get 4 episodes.
It comes across more that he has sort of a moralistic, like he just reached a point where he couldn't square what was going on with what he thought, should be
you see a little bit about Thor's and his Christianity when he's going to take his wife. Especially when he's talking about the birth of his daughter. that's where you kind of see a little bit of the Christianity with him.
I don't know. He seemed like when his daughter was born, he's like, you name her.
Yeah.
Well-
He straight says that was the one time Helga was angry with me.
Ironically,
he laid down the law.
the creator of this series wanted to show strong women. They showed a lot further beyond this anime. Would
Right.
be in season 3 and further. But
Like the
very
daughter
much
comes
that
across
one
as-
scene. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
I'm kind of
daughter
glad
comes
they left
across
the
as
sister.
very strong, like physically, but also just generally.
I'm kind of glad they let the sister out for most of the series because she was purely a comic relief character.
Oh yeah.
Of her slapstick, and she was one of those women like who'll beat the crap out of you if you mess with her. Super strong, which they show some of that in season 1, but they kind of leave it off to go someplace a lot more serious.
Yeah. Because the focus here was more about the prep to go to war. Because basically what happens is Jan's Vikings know Thor's is alive. They come back and say, hey, we need you to lead men to war. We know you insist. You have no choice. You're going to war.
Yeah, his old buddy Floki.
We know you're a deserter, and you know what the penalty is for that. Yeah.
Who then hires somebody to kill him, which I'm just like, God damn, he was your friend, dude.
Yeah, Floki is not a good guy.
And never pays for what he does.
Ironically, his brother Thorkill is far better of a character.
Yeah.
Because that entire time, Thorfinn actually was like his vengeance was against the wrong person.
Yeah.
Even his father thought to ask who hired him, whereas Thorfinn didn't even bother to ask.
I will clarify on something I said before. There are a few characters I was not conflicted about, and Floki is one of them. He's just a fucking asshole.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I had no problem hating him from the moment it doesn't take long before you realize he's setting Thor's up. Like it does not take long.
I will say, it's kind of interesting when you look at of course one of our main antagonist characters of Ocelon, who is there, and you can see what he really wants at the end when he says that. And it really does come full circle when he actually says when his crew basically gets their asses handed to them and him, where he actually says, you can lead, you should lead us, because he actually slips into that. It's like, this is the one that I was meant to follow. And I didn't get that entirely until the end. It was kind of an interesting thing when you look at it, that brief thought, which of course later is like, no, this dude will never do that. So might as well just, and then
getting back to the first part. Basically Thor's gets together a small crew, and unbeknownst to him, once they sail off, they technically have Leif and his merchant ship with them, and Thorfinn had stowed away on his father's ship.
Right.
And that is when they run into Askeladd, the mercenary.
We also find out that Thor's, you get the impression he may suspect that something's up, because he straight tells Leif he only brought five young men with him, and they're all ready and raring for war because they've never been and they can't wait to become warriors. And Thor straight tells Leif, they're going back with you they're going back with you. They're not, I'm going to find my own men. And so like he plans to ditch them and go on his own. Yeah. And it may be partly because he's trying to spare them, but it also, I feel like maybe partly that he thinks it could be a trap. You know?
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
he's very
yeah.
much aware it's a trap.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that first island where they stop to rest, where Floki hires Ocelot to kill him, and I mean, he says the troll of what was it? Troll of what?
The Troll of Yum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was like he's interested in seeing what this dude has in store, and I mean that
Yeah.
does happen before the whole trap is sprung because you go through the whole hiring dialogue. It's like, who you want me to take out?
And we do have that's also our introduction to, is it Bjorn, I guess is his or Bjorn?
We get introduced to Bjorn.
Yeah.
Basically they set up a trap. They
Mhm.
trap Leaf and Thor's ships.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sort of like a K or fjord or whatever they want to call it.
So Faroe Islands, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's like the
Faroe
first major
Islands.
way station, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically Thor says, okay, I'll take on your entire ships, because they have multiple ships. I'll take them all on. Doesn't use a weapon and just beats the crap out of everybody.
What was it that he said? Like, I don't need to use a sword or something like that. There was
True warrior doesn't use a sword. I think
yes,
is
that's
what-
the word.
Yeah.
Which of
Or
course,
doesn't need a sword.
so far,
We
at least
also
in the
get-
anime,
We also get the famous line, directed by Thor's at this point, of "I have no enemy."
yeah, which both of those reoccur at the end of season 2, but it takes a lot of learning to get to that point.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
he tells Thorfinn that, right? That you have no
Yeah.
enemies. You don't
Yeah.
need to. Yeah.
He tells Thorfinn that. Thorfinn doesn't learn that for a while.
Right.
Well, Thorfinn
Makes
thinks Thorfinn's like, no, I got an enemy. He right over there.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. This is also where we find out that Bjorn has some special shrooms that he likes to use. That
Yeah, isn't it Amadake? Isn't that what he's eating?
maybe
Some
I-
sort
I
of like
basically-
Red
berserker
with
shroom.
white
goes
spots is
into a
kinda hard to
berserker
make.
rage. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of hallucinogenic shrooms that grow in those areas, so
Right.
it's hard to
It's,
say.
it's a cool way to present, a true barbarian rage.
Yeah. Maybe that should
Uh-huh.
be my backup for Rocky's game. Is like,
Straight up berserker
Sure.
rage. Just-
put a
Berserker rage.
Viking berserker that uses mushrooms.
That'd be the interesting character for the game. That definitely will be. But basically, after Thor's is kicked everybody's ass, even kind of defeats Askeladd in a sword fight, essentially.
Well, he challenges him to
a
a
duel.
duel.
He challenges him to duel, kicks Askeladd's butt, pretty easily, only to be shot by a multitude of arrows from multitude of archers.
And technically, Askeladd is taken aback at the time. It was only because his second in command managed to take his son hostage that it brings him back to kind of reality and all that. Because he really was looking at that as like, would you lead us? I mean, that phrase, like I say, and that comes back later.
Yeah.
Where you find out why he said that. And it was a genuine offer. I think that if our main character of the moment had actually agreed to that, things would have been very different.
Yep. And
Yeah.
so Thorfinn watches his father die in a very dishonorable way and
Yeah.
calls out Askeladd for his actions and threatens revenge.
Mhm.
He's aboard, stays aboard his father's ship after they remove the kids from the islands that wanted to go to war and
Yeah.
put them with Leaf.
Well, basically, they do uphold that part of the bargain. They let the others go. They don't realize Thorfinn is stowaway.
Yeah, he stowed
Yeah.
away to to get his vengeance and stay with his father.
Yeah.
And that leads into the second part of the series, which is Thorfinn growing up to learn how to seek out his vengeance.
And let me just say, even though we look at Thorfinn as kind of an unlikable character throughout, he wasn't a very likable character at the beginning. I mean, he breaks one of the other kids' arms because he wants to be serious about being a Viking warrior.
He was a little brat. He went
from being a brat to a total feral Sasuke.
And he basically said, I'm no longer going to play dead. I'm going to kick your ass anyway. So.
Right.
So I just wanted to point that out because I do find that he had a lot of unlikable traits to the beginning. So it wasn't just what he became that left him being unlikable, in my opinion. It was as a protagonist, if you really could call it that. I don't know if I would still say Ocelot is pretty much the protagonist season 1. As much as I would dislike him.
I guess
it's the breaking of a character. So he's a protagonist in the story, but you're breaking that character to get to the point where they get to.
Because if you look at the story as a whole, it is Ocelot's story. I mean
Thorfinn's story. Ocelot dies in season 1.
He does, but as I was saying, the story was about Ocelot.
Season 1 story.
Yeah, it's season 1. It's Ocelot's story because it follows him, his quest, his own vengeance, his own terms on how he wanted to die. It's basically his life, the way he wanted to lead it. Thorfinn was just a side character along the way that he was using. Thorfinn does not become a main character, in my opinion, and even then it's debatable until season 2. And even in season 2, he's sort of a side character until the end. And
Thorfinn is very much a side character in season 2 until about halfway. Until halfway.
Even season 1, Thorfinn is a character that's pushed roughly to the side. Yeah. He is an observer of Askeladd and Askeladd's journey. And that's the reason why I say Askeladd is the protagonist of this story. Protagonist being the best word I can use, but not the word I'd rather use for this.
None of these people are good. Let's just put it that way. None of these people are good.
Let's just say I didn't really care that Askeladd died. In a way, I was kind of.
I will say, and this is one of the reasons I was conflicted, and I know this will be jumping ahead a bit, and I'll just say, throw it out there. We'll come back to it, but I felt like they gave enough of his story at effective points in the story to where you could kind of pull for him. At various points in the show, I kind of did actually like him a little bit, but I definitely empathized with him more by the end than I expected to.
I mean,
he's a complete shit, but you can tell that life made him that way. Yeah. And you can kind of understand it a little.
Yeah.
I mean, this entire show does show you that people are not just one note. None of the characters are one note, except for Thorfinn at the beginning. Because in reality, there's a lot more to each of these characters. I mean, Askeladd is a mercenary at first. That's all he pretends to be, and he's just doing a job. Even when he kills Thorfinn's father, it's not because he had anything against his father. He was just doing his job. Well, as I said, it was Floki that wanted him dead.
We find out later that Askeladd did have something against him just for being a Dane, but
but he would have. But that's the other thing, is that I think he would have followed him just the same, because he had the qualities that he was looking for.
Thor's earned his respect in that battle.
Yeah, Thor's was the kind of person. It's just like his second in command. When you see him die, he looks as like, no, you were my friend at the end of it.
Yeah.
To say is like, yeah, I hated all these people, but no, you were my friend, which was a touching moment.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
had a blind racial hatred, but he was able to see individuals
Oh yeah.
occasionally.
Even the worst racist can see one or two individuals as well. Well, they're the exception. I mean, you can say like,
Generally speaking,
yeah. I mean, it can happen as it is.
This series is meant to disgust you. The way the world is, it brutal,
Right.
it's ugly, and actually, Brandon, you can back this up. Do you feel the violence went less in season 2 or more?
Well, it depends on what you call violence. I mean, was there a lot more killing in season 1? Yes.
No,
There was a lot more fucking killing.
I'm not saying killing. I'm saying like turn away pain. I
mean, I don't know. I would say that
Brutality.
there is brutality, but even then, you could say that half of the season 2 was dedicated to the idea of just deal with your lot in life, and you're born to serve, and you can gain happiness from your service, which was about half of season 1. And then the other half of season 1 went more towards.
season 2.
Season 2, yeah. Season 2 went towards more of an understanding that things are much more complex, even than Thorfinn's own newfound peace of mind. There was a lot more complexity to be had. So, I mean, I'll assume that the rest of the series has Thorfinn come back.
In my opinion, and it's been a while since I watched season 2. I hadn't really gotten through season 2 during this playthrough because I hadn't really gotten the chance. The violence that is inflicted is far more gruesome, far more brutal in season 2. And it's meant to be that way because it's meant to be an unkindness to your fellow man.
Well, it's fewer and far between, in my opinion. Because it went like 3 or 4.
It's fewer. It is fewer.
Because there were like many more episodes where it was just, we're farming.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that.
There's violence toward the earth.
Violence. Actually, yes, Jacob, I think that you would find a lot more disgust with season 2 because of the violence towards clearing the forests, so deforestation and the destruction of the environment. So I think that
There's
you would
a little bit of
look
that
at that
in the
as
first
violent.
one. But
now,
speaking of, one of the brutal bits in this second part is where even when they discover that Thorfinn is a stowaway, they refuse to offer him any help. They thoroughly leave him on his own, and he has to learn to survive in the wild on his own before they finally are like, "Oh, you're still alive? Okay, well."
Actually, though, that's how the band gains kind of a weird respect for him.
Yeah.
Even though they're not friends, they do respect the fact that he is strong enough to survive. And many of them gain a weird, begrudging liking of him as sort of their mascot animal.
Even Askeladd seems to, by the end of the series, have almost a paternalistic viewpoint toward him. Like he feels like he's raised this kid up to be a warrior.
Askeladd does not want him to be consumed by the vengeance that's there. He actually wants him to find peace of mind.
Okay.
Well, I think I don't know if I got that as much as I got it as he sees the vengeance as something purely destructive that's preventing Thorfinn from becoming more than feral,
Let's all right. Yeah. Getting back to what happens in this part. So basically, in this part, Thorfinn goes straight up to Askeladd and tries to kill him honorably. And Askeladd's like, no, You're not going to
Challenges
do it. And he
individual,
kicks his ass and basically says, if you want to kill me, you're going to have to, either do it in my sleep or be able to actually fight me. And he basically sets in motion that Thorfinn has to learn to survive and become a warrior, a true fighter.
There is
of a battlefield.
there is that scene where Thorfinn does sneak into his hut and has a blade ready, but then leaves. Like he's like, no, I'm not. That's dishonorable. I'm not going to do it.
I mean,
And you see that Askeladd was awake and aware the whole time.
It also shows that he decides instead of a sword to use the dagger that his father had, and then eventually another one that he takes off of a fallen kill of his.
I mean, to be fair, you're 6 years old.
He does use the sword.
The knife is far easier to use.
Well, he uses the sword the first time he attacks Askeladd, but he failed.
And Askeladd tells him straight up, like, the sword will control you. Use something you can handle. Yeah.
And he starts like practicing with the dagger, practicing throwing it. And the second time he comes back, he's a little bit stronger than the next.
Yeah.
But he is, but as a feral individual, it's not that he isn't given help necessarily. It's that he won't take help at all.
Yeah.
Some of the others actually willing to give him like some food and stuff, and he was like, "No."
I think this is where we're really introduced to the brothers. I think they're the ones that offer him food, and he's like, "No."
The brothers do, but we also get, because I kind of want to move this through a little bit faster. We get the scene of their first raid of an English countryside that we see. I think it was like a 10-year-old Thorfinn at this point. Kind of be taken in kindness by an old woman and her daughter.
He's found injured in the stream, and they nurse him back to health, basically.
Yeah. Only for him to turn around and just be like, at first he tried to warn them to get away. They didn't understand, and he just has to stand by and watch them cruelly be killed.
Yeah.
Well, he did his job. He was the scout.
Yeah.
Yep.
He had to do enough jobs for Askeladd to let him fight him again.
Yeah.
And
each time he finishes a job, he gets his ass kicked.
I think that was the part, that episode was the part where I went from empathizing with him to going, this fucker.
Yeah, well, I mean, he truly is he is truly the eye for an eye makes the world go blind type character. I mean, his vengeance eats up pretty much all he is, and that's reflected in season 2 as well, but showing what happens when he doesn't have any, because all he is vengeance. What's left of him afterwards. And I mean,
I do think that's the episode. I think that is the last. He does try to warn them. He doesn't have the language skills to effectively do it. But I think that's the last time that he lets his scruples really come to the surface. And after that, he's just like,
the very next episode is them attacking the French fort. And Thorfinn makes a deal with Askeladd, where Askeladd is like, if you can get me the head of a captain, I will, take you up on your dole again. Mm-hmm. And Thorfinn does it. I mean, he runs in and attacks the wall with just daggers.
First, they send him in to negotiate with the toad of noble for them to take a share. And at the end, the share was they took the treasure and the French got the fort.
And keep in mind, the reason why they did this initially is that this was the first time that they were trying to invade and take England. The Danish were trying to do that. and and of course winter was starting to come in, so they decided we're going to retreat for the season, and they did not have enough
Right.
money to last out the winter, so they went further south to France to
Right.
get one more haul, which they definitely did.
What the hell?
Yeah, and pretty much this part ends with them going into hibernation for winter, essentially. It's what they do. And we meet Askeladd's uncle. I'm not sure. Whoever's running this area.
The guy who basically is Lucy from the Peanuts, like, ooh, lovely clinky coins.
Oh, he wasn't nearly evil enough to be Lucy. He was corrupt and evil, but not as she is a whole other brand of evil.
But Thorfinn has been accepted pretty much fully as a member of the band, even though he doesn't consider himself one. They basically consider himself a member of the band at that point. He gets a share of the food and all of that.
Oh, there are several times in this series where he's like, "I don't work under him. I'm not part of that group."
Meanwhile, the rest of the group's like, "Yeah, he's one of us," because
one of us.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, his second in command actually gets a fondness of him because just there's that respect for what he has done.
Right.
But as they settle in for winter, then they go into properly attacking England under the orders of the Danish. Basically, they're saying, like, yeah, you're a mercenary group, but we demand you to take part in this battle in England. And that's when we get the first fight of Thor's and Thorkill.
Well, they put that because that's in London, and they kind of point out that they easily swept through England, but then they got to London and it was a little trickier.
Oh yeah, they had one of their own that turned and decided to start leading some of the English, even though the king had already fled the country at that point.
And I know Thorkill is like a fictionalized version of Thorkill the Tall. This dude's he is a giant.
Yeah, I mean, the manga and anime make him a giant. He probably was still, he probably was a 7 foot tall person.
I mean,
but back in the day, 5'4" was like the average height.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, now he may have been a bad guy, which he was, but he was probably one of the more likable characters because his motives were basically simple. There was no two-faced nature of himself. He knew what he wanted, and that was simple. You knew what he was thinking. You knew how he would act because it was basically that was his nature.
He was a straight-up hedonist. But for him, the hedonism basically was, can I fight somebody? Can I be entertained by other people fighting? Do I have good food? As long as he had any of those things, he was fine.
He relished in his hedonism. So
what's that?
He relished in hedonism. He absolutely loved being that way.
Yeah.
And he was easily bored. And I think that's probably one of his biggest. It's amusing, but it's also one of his actual negative traits was how easily bored he was and how he desired violence for entertainment. Again, this kind of mindset I find despicable. But the way he is presented as mostly a good-natured, affable guy who is, as Brandon said, not two-faced, not double-dealing. What you see is what you get. He really is genuinely likable, and he glomps on to Thor.
He genuinely likes Thorfinn because he respects him as a warrior. It's like somebody finally giving me a challenge for one.
Right.
This would be because it's saying I'm getting the dates here because these are based on real battles. Thorfinn in episode 2 is 6 in 1002.
Mhm.
Thorfinn against Thorkill is October of 1013.
I am surprised they didn't show more of the Roman walls because at that time, London did utilize some of the pre-existing Roman structure for defense because, well, it was still there. It was still freaking solid rock wall at the time.
Mhm.
I mean, the roads are still there to this
And,
day.
I mean, shoot, the wall is still there to this day. Not all of it, but some of it. I
Yeah.
mean, I have a picture of myself next to one of them because they just leave it like it's like some sort of yard decoration. Now, I mean, I hate to say that, but that's exactly how it is over there. It's lawn decoration, and
You're
when you
just
get
reminding me of the woman in England that had an unexploded bomb as a yard decoration. She would bang her shoes on.
I mean, it's but when you look at it, this is a wall that's just sitting there in some dude's yard, and the wall is was built in like 1000, actually less before that, like 900 some AD. It's pretty. So that wall was not that much older than when the series was there, because the series was taking place in like what 1000 something like around that.
Yeah, in 1000.
Weren't there multiple references? What am I missing or getting things mixed up? Because they keep talking about 500 years ago, and I was kind of thinking that was the Roman time. Am I
The
getting my dates
Roman
totally mixed
period in
up?
England, I believe, let me check. I believe it was ended in 600.
Yeah, Rome
Yeah.
fell in 476, but
So yeah,
a lot of the
500 years
outskirts.
before the
Yeah, a lot of the outskirts still held on, and there was still a lot of Roman influence for years after that. And then, of course,
Yeah.
the Roman Empire didn't truly fall until 14 something when the Ottoman Empire took over
But
Constantinople.
at this point, you had the Anglos, the Saxons, the Irish, which were basically just Druids at the point, the tribes of Scotland, and the Welsh.
The Irish are on their island, so
Yeah, the Irish had their island, but Vikings still would get there. So,
and there is brief mention of threatening Ireland at the end of the season, but
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's where the Viking cats came into play.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, from the point of England, we really start to see a little bit more about how Ascalon leads in a battle and war set, as well as what Thorfinn's developed into in his effectively 11 years at that point.
Yeah, hitman
with Ascalon.
Well, the fact that he has the ability to not only go toe to toe with Thorkill and survive, he actually takes two of his fingers off his hand.
Well, yeah, Thorkill only survives by using his hand to block the strike.
Right.
That did it. That's how he lost his fingers. He was basically lose his fingers or lose his life.
He doesn't even flinch. His hand is pouring blood, and he's just using it to wave them away.
He's just laughing about it as he's like, "Yeah, look what he did."
It's a speed build versus a strength build. So I mean,
yeah, definitely.
And we start to get introduced in this part to Canute, which at this point, I agree with the jokes that they continuously state about Canute. He looks more like a princess than a prince.
Yeah.
I like when they went back to London that they actually really make that hit home.
Well, and also Canute never speaks except through his retainer. What Ragnar, I think, is his retainer.
Ragnar, yep.
Ragnar. And when the very rare time you hear him at all, it's very quiet. He's wearing that helmet. It's like everything is there to where it really could go either way, and you don't really know.
Well, Canute was the one that was assigned by the king to take London, and that was supposed to be
Yeah,
his
but he,
conquest.
as we learn later, his
It was
dad
his first
never
conquest.
thought Canute would succeed.
Yeah.
Well, that was rightful to believe at that time.
Yeah.
But he did have an interesting entourage with a very interesting monk as his compatriot.
The monk is by
monk
far one of
had-
my favorite characters in this
He's
first
the
season.
comic relief. If you have any comic relief in this, that was one.
Iron Stomach, I guess, would be the appropriate.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you wouldn't want to drink the
Extremely
water that time of day.
Yeah.
it's funny because I love it when you get towards later on, and this guy's winning the drinking contest. They don't realize it's actually the monk who just shaved his beard. You realize that he's actually in his 20s, but I thought he was like much older.
He does look like an old man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the monk does also bring us more of the religious teachings
Yeah.
in the events and whatnot, and
Yeah.
helps bring a note. Basically, he shows Canute very early on as a very religious person, and
Mhm.
that follows the beliefs and whatnot of how to be in life before Canute turns around and starts actually being a proper royal.
Mhm.
But all in
Well-
all, I mean, it just carries on for, I think we pretty much follow timeline wise a year
Well,
of this situation.
I do want to make a point just because it's funny because I was just reading this today. I'm reading a book called The Separation of Church and Hate. And he talks in there about how the original message, according to this author at least, and I tend to agree with it, the original message of Christianity got co-opted basically by politics. And in a sense, that's kind of what happens with Canute. Like at first, he is deeply devout to the actual Christian teachings. And his moment of epiphany is when politics enters into it. Now,
mean,
in his
pretty much-
defense, I would say Canute remains one of the better characters in the series in terms of morals.
For the first season. Yes.
Yes, for the first season. But like in terms of when he goes from being someone that everyone thinks of as this timid weakling to actually being a leader, a lot of it does come to him graduating, if you will, from the Sunday school Christianity to political Christianity.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's kind of,
Well, I mean, when we talk about religion, a lot of people don't realize the Bible as we know it was
Mhm.
mostly written in 1500. That is what the King James Bible is.
Mhm.
But this was around the
The-
time where the first translation, well, not really the first translations, had been out for like 100 years or so, but
This be
They
the
finally
time where they
translated
had
out of
multiple books out
What
there.
was the-
it was finally
Yeah.
translated out of Latin.
when was the Nicaea? When was that? I know I
Nicaea?
read that today and I've already forgotten. The was it the Council of Nicaea or whatever, where they basically determined what the Bible consisted of.
Because I was trying to think about it because I was looking it up for this because one of the things in season 2 had somebody reading from a Bible.
325.
Yeah.
325. Okay,
Yeah.
so this would have been, they would have had a Bible at this point. Yes.
Yeah.
They had a Bible. They had other books of the Bible also around at
Right.
that time. Whether or
Right.
not they were true books of the Bible is still in question to this
Right.
day.
It
Right.
wasn't allowed to be outside of Latin for many years, but
Yeah.
by the time this series takes place, the first few non-Latin versions of the Bible had been in existence. which I did not realize that until after I looked it up, because I was trying to think, was that really going on at this time? I mean, was he reading from a book outside of Latin? I was like, yes, he was. Yes, he was.
But this also would have been before the Gutenberg Bible, so I think this is so it still would have only been the clergy that would have had access to these.
Yeah, it would have been handwritten copies.
It would have been like the ultra rich or the clergy who would have had access to it.
Yeah.
Which I'm watching another.
We have here, the ultra rich.
I'm watching another anime series, although it's more of an isekai that covers the making of a Gutenberg, which is interesting, but at the same time, it's really weird. Maybe I'll pull that series up at some time, because it is not well loved, but it is quite an interesting series, in my opinion.
Which one's that?
But for right now, that is Absence of a Bookworm.
The Ascendance of a Bookworm?
Ascendance of a Bookworm.
Yeah.
I've heard good things about it. But anyway.
The manga is great, from what I hear. The anime took some different choices, and the animation quality was horrible for the first 3 seasons.
Oh, okay.
So. But that being said, back to the show. Before we get into the final war part of the arc, we get a brief moment learning about Wales and Askeladd's heritage. And we learn the story of Arthur, who is the historical king of England that King Arthur is assumed to be based off of.
Right.
Well, I mean, whales were very important back then, because they hunted them to near extinction.
Yeah.
It was also interesting. I think this is the first time that we've seen that Askeladd. Well, it's the first time we've really seen indications of his mixed heritage, because previously he has introduced himself as son of Olaf, and here he says son of what was his mother's name? Lydia, something like that.
I think it is Lydia. It's something like that.
But he introduces himself to the Welsh captain using that name, and it's like, that's the first time we see that, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But then when they get into his background, it's like, oh, it makes sense.
Yeah. So we get that brief moment of learning about that before we get into this sort of winter story arc that leads to the final battle of the war going on. So that part, and then we'll get to the very last part after that, is what we're going to talk about now. This is where they're trying to capture, England is trying to capture Canute at this point.
Right.
And Askeladd and his men are basically out of supplies, trying to survive the winter, going from town to town, basically just decimating homes just to get try and survive. But
they basically is there. Our village, except for one that they miss.
Who reports them at the end, which is the reason why they did slaughter the whole thing. Because
exactly.
But you know what? I'm kind of glad that she got away, and I don't feel bad for the slaughter that happens pretty much after that.
Yeah, I mean, the one character that's good besides the priest is probably her. So.
Yeah. Well, the old lady that saved Thorfinn before was.
She was good until she died. Yes.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. There were good people, but and that's I felt for this girl, but it's the same thing that with that episode. It's interesting how the series, and I don't know if you could say this as it might be a minor debit to the series, but it might be a good thing depending on your viewpoint. It kind of goes all in from time to time. on introducing you to these people and giving you a feeling for their life before it's completely upended. And it's
no,
and then you never see them
it's
again.
very intentional. Very intentional.
But it's on the one hand, it's nice because it's a break from all these other characters. And it's nice to see goodness and decency and all that. But on the other hand, it's like, you made me like this character and now they're being cast aside or killed. And I don't like that.
I mean, a good example of this is, and it's later in the series. It's actually where season 3 would be. Pretty much the main plot of season 3 would be. Is once they start to try and journey out, as they do, Thorfinn runs into a woman that he victimized. And she basically explains her hatred to the point that she basically was like, I'm going to follow you until I get my revenge on you. So she takes the place of what Thorfinn does in this entire first season.
Okay.
And she is there until the end of the series.
Okay.
So basically, you see the victimhood here, but it still carries over throughout the story. You're still victims that you're supposed to relate to in a sense.
Okay.
And I mean, the main thing to talk about, as we kind of already touched it, at this part is Canute becoming a leader and Thorkill finally getting his fight, his rematch with Thorfinn.
Well, before that, though, I think the village where that's where Askeladd dispatches Ragnar, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's a big part of what helps turn Canute down the road he went down, I guess, was getting rid of the guy that, as Askeladd was correct, I think, that Canute's retainer was basically babying him and trying everything he could to protect him from I guess you could say the harsh realities.
Canute in the story is about the same age as Thorfinn, and it shows the difference of how raising a child is different. Because Canute is very sheltered and protected, whereas Thorfinn had to learn how to survive on his own.
Right. Which is part of the reason why Thorfinn, from the word go, is deeply insolent towards Canute. Deeply insolent. It's like, and that I'm sure was a bit of a culture shock for Canute.
They form an odd relationship together, as well, with Thorfinn being his bodyguard.
Right.
I mean, that death led up to that final confrontation where we had them crossing the river, and Askeladd's band mutinies on him, thinking that they could just give the prince up to Thorkill and it would be all forgiven, which was a very bad call. They obviously did not know Thorkill very well.
He basically, when they left the village, some of the people mutinied then and stayed behind, and Thorkill basically slaughtered them all for being weak, pathetic fools. And it's like,
Which he didn't really change his mind on that between us.
Thorkill kind of kept his mind all the way through until he has his battle with Askeladd himself. And then I believe Thorfinn has his battle with Thorkill after Askeladd has his battle.
Right. Well, so basically they had there was the mutiny, which Askeladd had expected, because he says a couple times in the series, I can read people's faces. And Those two brothers had been his loyal foot soldiers for a long time. And I can't, Otley is one of them. I can't remember the other one.
He
But
even stated when they
Yeah.
started going into the land war part, where he's like, look, I'm a man of the sea.
Mhm.
You bring me on land, I don't know shit.
But yeah, it's like I said, he can tell that they're scheming. He knows that a lot of the others are scheming. So he sets it up to where as soon as there's like the point of no return and he knows it, he has already got Canute and the monk and Thorfinn loaded up in a sled that he's got Bjorn driving. And he just kind of gives the signal and they take off. And he thought he was saving them all. But of course, it gets more complicated than that.
Well, he should have known his little protege better than that. Because he wasn't going to let him die without fighting him first. And which left his second in command to die, basically.
Well, there's a detachment of people that follow after the prince, and Bjorn has to take them on. And I think it is Atli who actually gives Bjorn the fatal wound, but not a quick one. It takes him a long time.
He does pretty much
it's a slow death. Yeah. It is a slow death for Bjorn.
Yeah.
But it does allow for the prince to come to his epiphany. And transforms him from a meek character into a true royal.
Well, the monk is having some interesting thoughts about what love actually is. And so they have this whole conversation about what is love. And the prince comes to some interesting conclusions after that. Yeah.
And basically, then we have Askeladd's fight with Thorkill, which, no surprise, Thorkill still wins. 7 foot, tall man built to throw trees against a swordsman. Yeah, he's probably going to win. And, essentially, once Thorfinn rejoins where they're at with Canute, he turns his mindset straight to his battle with Thorfinn because he really wants to fight Thorfinn. And they have a battle, and Thorfinn takes Thorkill's eye, but at the same time, he starts to learn about his father's past.
Oh yeah,
and as the two of them.
He learns to work with. He actually works with his enemy in order to win this because he learns he cannot just beat this fight on pure curiosity alone. He has to use some sort of strategy. So
part of it is that his arm is broken severely, and
But he does manage to use that. Basically, the advice. He said, "Let me advise you. I have a vested interest in surviving this," and he does actually succeed because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And Thorkill does keep his word. He is very much a man of his word when it comes to that. He's like, "Nah, this dude beat me. You leave him alone, and you let them go. They have the right to leave if they want."
It's very much at this point that you can definitely tell that Askeladd is very much a father figure to Thorfinn, even though he wants to kill the man. He's very much taken on that role of, teaching Thorfinn that you need to have strategy to the fights, not just blunt, run in and kill something.
Right.
Which shows more in the second season when Thorfinn is being a little bit smarter in how he fights.
Yeah. Well, he does get to meet Askeladd again briefly.
Yeah. But that's after this last part, which the last part is Canute returns with Thorkill, Askeladd, and Thorfinn to his father. And his father basically is set to kill his son. And through the work of Askeladd and a very, deceptive way of handling things, they avoid one death attempt. And we go into the banquet.
Well, I think the king is one, he is surprised and probably slightly impressed at this very canny, clever advisor that his son has picked up. And he's also very impressed that his son, or it maybe not impressed in like a paternal sense, but more like it's impressed upon him that you have to pay attention to this, that this kid has Thorkill on his side. And Thorkill is famous as someone you don't want to cross. So I think his father is probably very surprised that his son is coming back to him on these terms.
I mean, it's a proper title for Canute in real history. That his name goes down as Canute the Great, which usually, if they have the title the Great, they did something impressive.
Right.
So, it goes to show, getting someone like Thorkill away from England and back on the side of the Vikings, it would be an impressive feat to these people, especially with someone as impressive as Thorkill.
Right.
But then on top of that, the failed assassination attempt that occurred on the boat, where they used a double, which when I first watched, I laughed at, even though it's horribly tragic. They used a woman as to represent him, and when they tore open the shirt and you see the boobs, it's like, oh crap, he's a woman.
Like, oh well, maybe he's a woman after all.
Well, that's certainly what those people were thinking. And of course, Canute's not happy that they used a double without consulting him, or that they used a woman without consulting him. He's very put out about that, but it did work for what they were going for.
It's not unheard of to have doubles. For famous people. The character I'm playing currently in our D&D campaign was based on that concept. Now it's different because it's a different timeline that we're playing in.
Right.
But I'm currently working, because that character is is the main character of the current novel I'm working on. And you have a double that is grown through royalty.
Right.
And in this case, they probably should have gotten another one, because you got the banquet situation where it is all tense.
We should also mention immediately after the assassination attempt is where Thorfinn is reunited with Leif.
Yep.
And that was probably one of the moments that pissed me off the most about Thorfinn, where he's like, what's going on with Vinland, basically? And he's like, I just told you about your family and you're concerned about Vinland? What? Like, it's literally, Leif tease him up, your mother and your sister missed you so much. And Thorfinn doesn't even care. And I'm like,
well, I mean, at this point, Thorfinn is so set on vengeance.
Yeah.
So set on it. He cannot look away from any other path than getting his vengeance on Askeladd.
Apparently, he's still fixated on Vinland. So he's got something else going on in his mind. But yeah. I'm like, you seriously? He does briefly show a sense of of I don't know what I want to say, but like when Leaf embraces him, he does let it happen. Like he does show like,
A
oh, I
little
know
bit of
this guy.
humanity.
What's that?
It's a little bit of resentment, basically, for what he's become. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's something that will dig into him and is very much the story
Yeah.
of season 2.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
And I will say we haven't said much about the character of Leaf. And like I said, I know he's one of the few Vikings that most Americans would know by name if they knew any. The way he's presented in the series, he seems like a pretty fun guy, like relative to the others. Like they present him as an explorer, not a warrior. He actually says that very emphatically earlier on.
he's a merchant. He's a
yeah.
merchant explorer, and
Mhm.
he basically tells these grand tales of his time.
Right.
But at the same time, in the series at least, they're true stories. But the kids want to embellish them maybe more. They're like, what about the, Jorgenheim, the monster that'll swallow you up, or the edge of the world? And he's trying to bring logic in there, but until it still grandize it. And you see that pretty much with him throughout the series, both in the manga and the anime. He does make an appearance in season 2. And does bring back Thorfinn at the end of season 2.
Yeah.
But it's very much, Leaf, after the death of Thor's, feels regret not being able to take Thorfinn away from this situation.
Right.
And it tears him up for the 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And this is an old man. This is a man in his 50s at that point.
Right. Yeah.
So it's a fatherly relationship, but more like the friendly uncle of the family.
Right. Right. Well, also I kind of think about, because again, I just finished the Skypia arc in One Piece. He's kind of the Nolan Mont Blanc in some ways. Very similar.
I mean, Oda made Nolan to be very much a little bit of, early explorers, a little bit of Columbus, but not much. There's another character that is truly Columbus in the later series. But Nolan plays that grand role of this legendary explorer of the past.
Right.
In that series. Whereas we at least know what Leif Erikson did in real history.
Right. All right.
Indeed.
That being said, we get the banquet and we learn the full history of Ascalon. How his father abused him. Well, I mean, his father didn't really give a shit about him.
That was in the duel prior to it, because he had one last duel with Thorfinn.
Yeah, but I mean, it goes into the concept of he's showing his reasoning of why he took all and basically impressed his father only to kill his father. He kind of planned and thought through a way to get his vengeance against his father, but he never forgave the Vikings. And when we get to the banquet and we have the king sort of turn on them, Ascalon's basically like, you know what? Fuck you all. I don't like the Vikings. I'm Welsh. Screw you.
Well, I think the king says something about attacking whales, and Floki clocks Ascalon's reaction to it. And he tells the king, he's like, you said something that he didn't like.
And he basically says, oh, we're going to present him a treasure of money for his good services. And
Right.
they send him up to get his treasure. And
Mhm.
Askeladd, instead of his treasure, takes the head of King Harold.
After the king makes it clear that, he's. I don't remember exactly what he said to him, but he definitely said something very triggering to him at that moment.
Yeah.
But he also made pretty
And
clear. He said something. Wait, but when he presented the treasure, he said something to the effect of, "We look forward to your service in Wales," or something like that.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
And so he takes the
and
head of King Harold,
yeah,
which causes the banquet to just go in uproar.
yeah,
The guards are coming to take him down. Several members of the banquet are trying to flee.
hmm
Thorfinn's trying to get in. And
yeah,
Thorkill is trying to prevent Canute from taking immediate action. But Canute decides the way for him to survive is to kill Askeladd. And that's what he
yeah.
does.
Well,
He stabs
I think
Askeladd.
he. Oh, never mind. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I think he Thorkill tells him. I think that you need to take the stage here. You need to be the one
Rise to
to
power.
take him
Yeah.
down. Yeah,
Thorkill is basically leading him to the proper moment to do it.
right, right.
And Thorfinn comes in after the stab and he's like,
Mhm.
what the hell?
Yeah,
Was my kill. And
yeah,
he is denied his revenge with Askeladd.
yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
And
But
in, the,
not before they
in
have
a
a
moment of
moment.
rage, in a moment of rage, Thorfinn strikes and cuts the cheek of Canute,
Right.
which is, execution levels of immediate problem.
hmm
But Canute goes easy on him. We don't learn his fate.
Well, until
In
season 2.
season 1. Yeah, well, we learn in season 2 what Thorfinn's fate was. But in season 1, we don't learn his fate, but we learned that he needs to find a new goal, and that goal is to pursue and find Vinland. And
Yeah.
the last bit, we see several individuals we don't know, but these are people that'll later be members of Thorfinn's crew. And one man on a ship who is Einard from season 2. And he is on a slave ship.
Yay.
Yay.
And that's how season 1 ends.
Yeah, fuck
Okay.
it.
Now, the reason why there's an issue with season 1 versus season 2, a lot of people expected this to be a just fight anime. Full on action, fight, blood letting all over the place. 2 is more personal discovery
hmm
and having to deal with, the outcomes of what happened to Thorfinn and him trying to come back to sanity.
hmm
So that is why there was such a division, because people wanted more blood.
hmm
There's also a division of the studio that produced this. So Studio Mappa handled both seasons.
hmm
However, in the second season, it was discovered the abuse of Mappa and its animators.
Hmm.
And while the animation is peak in season 2, it goes even higher than this season. the abuse scandal blackened the series a bit.
Wasn't this also Wit and Production IG were involved as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
This was one of the beginnings of Wit Studio.
Okay.
So this is an early Wit Studio production.
Mhm.
Now they're all over the place,
Mhm.
but Wit continues to do high quality animation. That's one of the things they focus on. Whatever they do, it's high quality. That but tries
Good
to do
deal.
the same, but their scandal caused issues on their end.
Like I said, to me, it all looked like Initial D. If you're talking about the animation, the quality, and the stylistic choices,
I
but
never
that's
saw it.
but again, Initial D is. It's been a while since I've seen it. It's just some of the way the faces looked and the expressions, and sometimes where that series, the animation did not look all that great for a lot of the series, but it blew its load in certain scenes, and that's how
I
I
will
almost felt
say-
like this.
I will say, I mean, production wise, it's a beautiful series, but season 1 does have a lot of flaws. There are moments where you can see where characters were CGI created and drawn over, particularly with armies.
Oh yeah,
There's a lot of stiff movement at that point. Season 2, they cleaned it up, but I mean, they had fewer battle scenes to deal with. It's more individual characters.
Right. In fairness, the first one did have a lot of army battle scenes. So.
Yeah.
But
not so
Yeah.
much.
I mean,
in
that's-
the
that's-
second one.
That's me just nitpicking anime. The animation. The animation's gorgeous in the entire series.
right. Now I agree with I guess to your point, Brandon, like some of the facial expressions are distinctly unattractive, especially when the characters are really angry. That toad of a lord
French noble.
in the French, yeah, that character was pretty ugly.
Well, he was comedically ugly to that point.
What's that?
It's a characterization. So I mean, it's it's character art.
Yeah.
A lot of people poo-poo some animation qualities in some series because of how the characters look. One Piece is infamous for being hated upon them because it's art, but it's character art. And I'm not saying character art, caricature, where you exaggerate the body.
One Piece has a lot of exaggerated characters, that's for sure.
That's just a part of the artistic.
Yeah.
the
But I
artistic
mean,
style.
if you want to make somebody look snobby and rich, you make them have a pig head where it's just bloated. Their nose is probably small and stuck up every time you draw them.
Mhm.
But I mean, that's people argue. That is somebody who is snooty and well off.
Mhm.
I
Right.
mean, we have Ragnar's pointed out in the series as having a pointed head.
Yep.
I believe they call him a conehead a few
Yeah.
times.
Yep.
But yeah.
And of course,
Yeah.
we talked about the square head of Floki.
Yeah. That hairstyle is a choice.
Yes. I mean, to be fair, at the time, but they did have shears, but
he is a character that's an interesting one because all the characters, of course, you can see them visibly age, but
Right.
Floki was one of those that kind of looked. Of course, he was really young in the very beginning, scene where they're doing the battle at the beginning, and then of course you get to see he still looked somewhat youngish when he ordered God, I can't think of his name, the guy's death. And
to be fair, we do know that Floki and Thorkill are Thorfinn's great uncles.
yeah,
Right.
So it makes it even worse for Floki when
Yeah.
he orders the death of Thor's.
And then, well, pretty much any time after that, once you've gotten to that 10-year skip, Loki looks old as fuck for the rest of the series. At least for the rest of the first season and the second season. I mean, I don't know how he looks if they keep him up with further seasons, but
He looks a bit older until he dies in the series.
Yeah.
But she looks a
I
lot
thought
older
he
after he
looked older,
decays.
I thought he looked older, but I didn't get that impression that it was a major difference.
No, he just looks a lot older because he
And
kind
they
of looks.
do dray his hair a bit.
Yeah, and they widen him a bit. They make him even more squarish as they go.
I thought the difference in age, the clear difference in age on Leaf was a lot more, I thought, than with Floki. Like he went from having full head of brown hair to having gray hair and balding.
I mean, to be fair, stress will do that to you. And we know Leaf goes through a lot of stress.
Yeah. Well, it's like I say, he was the one I noticed the age difference much more than with Floki. But yeah.
But what happens in between the two seasons that we don't see is Thorfinn is basically sold out into slavery. And that is where the series will pick up in season 2 is Thorfinn's punishment is he's sold into slavery.
Well, and of course, as you would have with any character whose entire life is focused on vengeance, when that's taken from him, he has nothing left. And but that's where we start at. So
Yeah.
So
and I mean, it's a very interesting. Season 2 is well respected by some people that really understand the story. That it's a story that you won't see in most animation and television because it's not something that would be dramatic and exciting as you have a character who just deals with a personal struggle.
Well, I think season 2 kind of killed any chances of there being a season 3, even though the manga keeps going, just because it was such a tonal change.
It's a mixed view. It's a mixed view. Mappa is yet to say anything if they do want to continue to season 3. But as I said, season 2 does kind of bring everything back into a circle.
That's all right.
It's a good stopping point.
Yeah, I was gonna say at the end of season 2, I could stop and be done with it. I can see where it could keep going, but I don't really see the need.
They do get to Vinland at the end of the story. Stuff happens, and they leave, which is historically accurate. So,
like they get to Vinland, and then comes the war arc with the Indian nations.
Actually, yes.
Well, yeah, because the Indian nations were not like they were when the English came to the United States. They were actually much more numerous back then because that was before when we came over, when the English came over, essentially. They had been decimated by centuries of plague. So back then would have been when they were at their strongest.
All of that occurs in the manga, but it's like it is the last part of the manga. I mean, to be fair, when this season ends, it says end of prologue.
Yeah.
So this is all the prologue.
This is before Guts actually takes on the actual demons.
That was the final episode title, wasn't it? If I'm right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
But I will say it kind of felt like season 1 of Berserk in a lot of ways. Maybe not as setting an ending.
So, those who don't know, seinen is adult stories, not in sex-based stories, but in violence. Ironically, Berserk and Vinland Saga both have hardcover manga releases. I have several volumes of Vinland Saga on my shelf. Only one of Berserk so far, but they are incredibly expensive. So
Yeah. I know Berserk goes into a very different place when it gets past that prologue of Guts trying to fight these demons and try and get his vengeance.
I mean,
But
I would love to get back to Berserk. At some point,
did they
I
ever
think we
finish?
all, I think we all have the original series,
Yeah.
the good
Yeah.
series.
Does,
Not
I
the.
know that the author died. Did they ever complete the story?
I cannot vouch for if it's completed yet, but I know they're working on an ending.
Okay, so sort of like Robert Jordan in that sense. Hopefully he left the instructions to how he wanted it to end, like that.
I think he did. I think it was in his will, and I think most
think,
creators kind of do that.
I hope the Hunter Hunter guy does that because he keeps taking long times. I was like,
Oh,
sure,
that's already known because his wife is the creator, Sailor Moon. He's given his wife the full information on how the series will end. Now, he stated he has like 7 endings.
Yeah, well, I know
So-
he's not done with it himself. I know he plans to keep going, but he keeps
Well, he's
he
he's
gets
back
so
and going
sick, and
right
then he
now.
ends up, you know.
He's back with a series right now. In
Yeah.
fact, we just had finally after I think like a decade, we just had the return of Gone to the series.
Until he gets too sick to continue again. But you know, I mean, it's sort of like Oda. I wonder if, even though I know we're supposedly in the final arc of One Piece, but are we? Are we really?
Manga wise, yes, we are in the end of
once we get
are
to
at the
that,
end of One Piece.
does that not just start the next arc of One Piece?
Well, I mean, I can't say yes or no to that because no one knows.
No, they'll end the one piece, and then there'll be the other piece.
All I'm hoping is that they end the series before they stop, before they end physical media entirely, because I want to be able to have the whole series on physical media.
Crunchyroll is not going to do physical media. I don't think Viz has said they were going to stop yet. And Viz is the one releasing the
Actually,
manga.
Crunchyroll isn't. Well, I know Viz is doing the manga, but I know Crunchyroll is doing the physical releases.
Physical release,
No, I'm saying Crunchyroll is talking that they will end physical releases. The way they're currently going, it's very believable.
Well, we shall see how it goes if they decide to end. I know One Piece is still very profitable for them.
Yeah, I feel like.
But I know that Sony is thinking about ending it. The Sony has made a statement that they own.
I mean,
that as far as ending.
This week we just got announced a collaboration of One Piece and SpongeBob for McDonald's Happy Meal toys coming out next month.
As I said, Sony has made an official statement claiming that their end of physical media only applies to video games, that they do not want people to feel like it applies to movies just yet. So
yeah, but Sony is really screwing themselves over a kettle of fish.
It's I mean, I don't think it's going to go on much longer. And of course, there's always the appropriate way. Actually, I don't think there would be any more appropriate way to continue to collect One Piece than taking to the high seas and putting it to disc. So, you know, I mean, if worse comes to worse, that might be how it has to finish. But
I mean,
hopefully they'll continue at least until their flagship.
A lot of people in this whole debate of physical media, a lot of people are giving praise to Nintendo, which I don't agree with, because Nintendo is technically not giving us physical releases. They're giving us game cards.
Dependent on the game.
Yeah.
Because a lot of Nintendo's official Nintendo releases are fully on the disc. Like Donkey Kong, the new Donkey Kong is still on the disc. It's a lot of their third-party releases are not going to disc, and that's crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be interesting to see with this. We briefly talked about animation. You guys want to talk any more about animation? Do you want to talk about music?
I love the cats. The Viking cats looked really good.
Yeah. I already talked about Cat Thor. I'm guessing the other one is Cat Sith, maybe. I
Probably.
don't know.
Or Cat Loki.
I thought about that, but it looks more like a girl. But I could be wrong.
It looks like it could be.
What's that? Well, this is true. This is true. I have seen the series, but anyway, I will say, as I did comment earlier already, I really, really like the first Ender. I actually really like both Enders. I think they're both really good. The openers are good, but I really like both Enders. So I'll give it that. And I feel like the overall music was good. Like it wasn't, it did what it needed to.
I will say the one I hate the most in the whole series is the second opener. And hate is a strong word. It's just like, it's the less popular one for me. Yeah. I have all the openers and enders of season 2 because that's when they bring in some American artists to do those. Brandon?
No comment.
No comment. Okay.
Okay.
If you can't say something nice, don't say it at all.
Oh, really?
Well,
that's sort of no comment.
All right. Do you want to talk about the dubs? Because there are 2 dubs, which is rare.
I've only heard the one dub with because I watched the Crunchyroll release. Actually, yeah, they use the same English voice actors for the Sentai and the Crunchyroll. I know that much.
And then you have the Netflix release.
Different dubs?
Yes, Netflix had its own dub.
Okay.
Weird.
For some strange reason, Netflix had a different dub cast on this series versus the Crunchyroll and Sentai. Now, I originally watched the series in Japanese because I was watching it as it came out for both seasons. But I also watched the Netflix dub, and this time I made sure to watch all of the Netflix dub. Even though I have it on disc for the Sentai release. So.
Well, I watched it on Netflix, but I watched the Japanese, so I can't comment on the dub.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you what the Netflix one was like, but I did. I thought that they did a good job with the one I watched. I guess the original one. I liked Ocelot's voice actor. He did a really good job on that. And I think Thorfinn did a great job of being a feral little asshole. So, yeah. And I actually, my favorite voice was Thorkill because the guy did a great job of that kind of, I'm happy because I'm killing everybody.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely an exuberance to the Japanese dub as well. There was, he was very lively.
From what I've heard, I won't say there's anybody that's outstanding in either language. But I mean, they seemed fitting. I didn't feel, even in the Japanese, even though it's a Nordic story that takes place in England. It is a bit weird to hear it in Japanese, but it's fine. I did not have a point where I was like, oh, that voice is really still, gives me cringe, or that music really hurt.
So Thorkill was Akil Otsuka, and he actually does have a pretty solid resume behind him. So that I thought he sounded familiar. There's probably a few people there that were.
The irony of trying to look up the cast on IMDb. of every
Yeah, I
character.
know. For some reason,
Uh,
ANN wasn't working for me tonight.
Thorfinn, so was Yuta Umamara in Japanese,
Mhm.
Mike Hamoto in the English. I don't know if I got a listing of the other dub. That's the problem. It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see. I believe Thorkill. I do recognize the voice of him in Askeladd, and the dub for Netflix.
Yeah. Nalia Uchta
Net-
was the Japanese for Aslad. I feel like I know
So-
that name too.
Kirk Thornton was in the Netflix dub, and David Wald was in the Sentai dub for Askeladd. Thorkill and the Netflix dub was Patrick Sheets. I'm trying to see his dub actor in Sentai, but I'm not seeing it at the moment because they don't have it in order. But I have not heard, like I said, I didn't hear anybody bad. Overall thoughts, because we're getting late here.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't really have anything else to throw into it, other than favorite scene, I guess.
Hmm.
So I started with Jacob last time. Let's start with you, Brandon.
Well, I mean, I kind of liked the scene where Thorkill and Thorfinn actually fought fully, like to where we saw the conclusion. I guess that was one of the closest to a shonen style scene. I guess that's really where a lot of people had that thought as they looked at this like a shonen series, and the series really wasn't necessarily a shonen series if you look at it as a whole. But yeah, that one actually was kind of cool. I really liked that scene where he's sitting there, he's trying to, and with Askeladd, he actually works with Askeladd for once, and does beat him, which shows that he's actually improved a lot in his style and thought process.
So final thoughts?
It was good.
Yeah.
Needed more Viking cats.
Do you think it deserves the 100% tomato rating on
Well,
Rotten Tomatoes?
I don't trust Rotten Tomatoes anyway, because the critic score, part of them are paid off, and the audience score is filled with people either review bombing or praising the series without seeing it, just for political reasons. So since I don't believe it, I don't believe Rotten Tomatoes is an accurate score regardless. I would say no, I don't believe that. There's no such thing as 100%.
I would say they have a better chance with anime, being more honest, than with like a big movie or TV show.
But yeah, as far as the anime is concerned, I don't think it's 100% by any means, because that would mean it would be a perfect series, and it definitely has its flaws.
Yeah,
it's a good series, a well done series, but I don't think it does that. I'd say if I was to give it a rating, I would put it in the 70s, in the mid 70s, if I was to.
Okay. Jacob.
Well, obviously my favorite scene is the deleted scene with Cat Thor and Cat Sif. But I would say I'm probably going to have to agree with Brandon. I think that maybe that second duel with Thorfinn and Thorkill. Certainly, most of the scenes with Thorkill were on the short list because most of them were quite entertaining. Their first battle was actually very interesting, and I enjoyed it. and there might be a few, especially like when he's alive. Like, and there was one moment. Okay, well, I'll say one other moment right before or right about the. No, I think it was during the duel between Thorfinn and Askeladd, the last one that they had before the banquet. And I don't remember who the other. I don't think it was the monk. Canute, I think, made some comment like Thorkill is talking about how strong they both were and how I think he said basically that Thor like Askeladd is winning, and this person said to Thor like, well, Thorfinn beat you, so does that mean of the three of you, you're the weakest? And that death stare that Thorkill gave to him, like, say that again, I dare you. I thought that was kind of funny. That was kind of, I'll probably go with those as far as the favorite scene or moment. And as I said before, Thorkill was just an entertaining character, and if we were doing favorite characters, he probably would be. If I were to like fully go favorite, like
Yeah,
it's
I
hard
mean,
for
I
me to say that
I
because
didn't
he's
offer it
yeah.
because I kind of figured all of us would vote Thorhill.
Okay. If we're saying like favorite is in like I actually like the person as presented on screen, I'd probably actually go maybe more toward Leaf or someone or someone like that. But in terms of the most purely entertaining one, it would be Thorgal.
And your overall feelings?
Well, I agree. This is definitely not 100% series, not remotely. A roughly 7 of 10 probably would be about right for me. I might go a little more generous. I did think it was impressively made. I appreciated it a lot. I think my biggest issues would be that it was so hard to fully get behind most of the main characters because most of them were doing truly evil and despicable things. So it's hard for me to fully root for anyone, and that definitely is a ding against any series. And there were some minor technical issues, some minor pacing issues, so it's not a perfect series, but it is a good one. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Me personally, I have got to give it to the beheading of King Harold.
Yeah.
That scene is a very good climactic scene, and you had the moment of basically the betrayal of what this entire first season was leading up to, which was the revenge. Just the heel turn there and the story. I love a good story and plot. And I do feel Vinland Saga as a story, having read it, or most of it, it's a great series. The anime's not perfect. It is not deserving of 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. There are flaws in season 1. I will say season 2 is far superior, technically. But yes, if you came looking for a shonen series, this is not a shonen series. This is
season 2 has pacing issues out of everything.
Yeah, season 2 does have a lot of pacing issues. But I mean, it goes to show this is a saga that is based on history. This is not like it's some completely fictional story. There are historical beats that have to be hit that go on in this story. And to make it entertaining, that's where it comes difficultly. And it's kind of why I wanted to do this series is it touches on something that rarely get in anime, which is a historical based anime. You're not going to have something 100% based in history. my choices for this series was because it was either that or Golden Kamuy, which covers the Russian Japanese War, which is a rare point in history that we don't talk about, that happened in between World War One and the Meiji period. So it was a unique period.
Quick insert point on that point. One manga I have been reading that I really, really like, and I'm waiting for them to do a damn anime, is A Bride Story, which is basically a historical drama about life along the Silk Road. Really great manga. Beautiful art. As far as I know, they'll probably never make an anime. And I'm like, oh.
Who knows? Who knows? I mean, we're
You never
getting
know.
right now. I'm not a fan of it, but this season does have a historical anime. But they
Yeah.
throw in isekai elements to it, and it's called Red River.
Okay.
And it covers the history of Babylonia
Okay.
in the series. And it's weird, but I mean, these do exist. It's rare in anime to see these. Seinen
Right.
is not rare. Technically, Attack on Titan is a seinen series.
Mhm.
They tend to be very bloody, very gory. I mean, Berserk is
saying about
praised-
that.
Berserk is praised as one of the greatest, manga ever written. And I kind of agree. The art that goes on in Berserk is amazing, but it is not for children, not at all.
Kids.
Yes.
And the irony that I chose this based off of someone who was in our chat who was a child saying they watched this. I was like, this is not a series I would not give my child to watch.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Vinland Saga is a great children's anime. It teaches history and
It teaches about blood, war, and just the disgusting nature of humanity.
Well, again, I keep thinking about the gamers, blood, death, and vengeance.
I mean, the goal that is Vinland is the ideal of seeking peace, the great peace that we never achieve. And that's what this story is about. It's about a man who's broken, who goes out to seek true peace in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So we are.
So, that being said, we're back on Adventure Time next time, aren't we?
Yes, we are. I'm double checking real quick. Okay, so it'll be Adventure Time Season 6, and we are taking a bit of a break. So it will be Season 6 will be discussed at the end of September.
Okay.
Because I won't be available at the end of August. And we wouldn't have much time to do an additional season between the time we would be able to finally do the discussion and that. So instead, I'll give a lot of extra time for Season 6 of Adventure Time. We're
Which is
getting
probably good because
closer.
it's the second longest season. So
We are getting closer to the end of Adventure Time.
Okay.
Closer. We're not there yet, but we will cover it all, damn it.
some
then
big
in
things
October
happen in
we'll,
season 6.
Then in October we'll do something completely different. I'm looking up something that I'm looking up. I've got a couple of things I want to think about presenting for our Halloweeny animation, especially considering that animation is there. Were you with us for Over the Golden Garden? No, you weren't with us for Over the Garden Wall, were you? Or were you?
We did that last week or last month.
Okay, you were there for that. So yeah, I had wanted to originally do that one, but it seems like it would be a little bit.
We all talked about
soon.
that last time. We said it was probably better for Halloween, but we were watching it in June.
Right.
So I'm going to be looking into it, and by the end, of course, of our season 6 Adventure Time discussion, hopefully Dave will be with us. I will bring a Halloweenish anime to it. Maybe another
Garfield Halloween. That's what we
Garfield Halloween. There you go. Because again, it's no longer limited to Japanese animation.
Right.
So and there are some American or other countries' animated series that are horror or Halloween based that are still quite good. So, and we are covering that for Inside Movies Galore. We are covering animation for that, which of course you're welcome to join us for, Brittany, when we cover the Grinch, because we're doing a double feature in Halloween for mine, which is the Grinch Halloween episode and Charlie Brown's Halloween, the Great Pumpkin, which
I Gotta Rock.
Which, those two I think are worth covering for Halloween.
Yeah, definitely.
The Grinch, because we've covered everything Grinch on Inside Movies Galore, so we got as well cover that as well. And then and the other one just because it's a Halloween classic. Special. It's a classic, just like when we covered the Christmas one. Did we pair? I think we paired the original Grinch with the Charlie Brown Christmas one last year, didn't we?
Did we? I know we've done them both. I can't remember if we did them together. Maybe.
I know we paired it with something.
Yeah.
Please tell me you called out Tony the Tiger as the singing voice of the Grinch.
He had a cool name.
I believe we did.
So it'll be kind of cool. So we've got some fun stuff. It'll be fall next time. Hopefully a little bit less ungodly hot, and we will have more cat Vikings to talk about.
Definitely more cat Vikings.
Actually, Adventure Time cat Vikings are not out of place. These could be characters in the Adventure Time edition.
Yeah, but we already hit the box kittens.
Yeah,
we did have the box kittens. Yes,
but we could also have cat Vikings as well.
Well, we're going into space at the beginning of the season.
That is true. Well, we will then. Before we wrap up, Brittany, did you have anything that you wanted to plug or anything like that?
I am working on a lot of things behind the scene, particularly Demon Blade 12, and officially started all the writing in the new novel coming out. So those will be coming along. I don't know about videos or anything else that'll be coming out. And Demon Blade at this point, chapter 12 will probably come out late September.
Yep. I was actually hoping to work on DV7 this month, but it got delayed again because of the fact that our cooling system is down, and I had to find a quick fix so we could have at least one room in the house that's not over 80 degrees.
That would be yes.
So with that, I hope you all have enjoyed this discussion. If you did, click that like button, hit that subscribe, and share. And I will say, at the end of the Adventure Time discussions, we're going to have like one discussion where we go over our thoughts on the show as a whole. So it's going to be an interesting little discussion. So
will that be after season 10, or will that be after all the extras?
I probably think that we'll just do season 10 because this is the only ones that everybody has easy access to, and most would have to get subscriptions to HBO to finish that. I mean, because there's also of course the other ones like Stakes, Islands, all that stuff as well. But we'll just hit the last seasons and then just go over what we've got from that. And I'll probably continue watching into the future for it because I do have an HBO subscription, but
Same.
I'm not going to try and force anybody else to. So with that, everybody subscribe, watch it, and share it. And tell us what you think of Vinland Saga. Did you think that the farm was the best part of season 2? Let us know. We'll see you on the next one.
Good night, all.